So we have James and Lisa from Mike Holmes Inspections, which everyone is super curious about. So they're going to tell us everything that they offer and what they can do differently.
I'll just begin. So me and Lisa are basically all of Nova Scotia. Between the two of us, we have our own respected territories that we cover. I'm Halifax to Yarmouth, and Lisa has Dartmouth to Amherst. There's still nobody in Cape Breton yet, so that's kind of up in the air. That's one that's up in the air, but it is suggested territory. And we're both graduates of home inspection programs. I took two myself. I took a college-based one and Internachi, and Lisa took Carson Dunlop, which is the leading edge one in Canada. And you know, they're pretty much becoming the leading edge in North America, from what I understand. So you know, the Mike Holmes franchise, we've all seen them on TV. We all know there's hype, there's TV myth versus our reality. You know, if we were going to do this like Mike Holmes, it wouldn't work out in our business because we wouldn't have jobs really quickly. We'd be breaking all those deals instead of closing them for you guys. So what we're here to offer is just quality home inspections, backed by Costco and Mike Holmes. So Scott has brokered a deal with with Costco about being sole provider, which is a huge deal in Canada because, as we all know, Costco backs everything they do. So not only are we representing the Mike Holmes name, we're representing Costco's name at every inspection we do. So the level of standard for us has to be up here. It has to be. There's no, you know, oh, I'm not feeling good today, I can't perform like I did yesterday. You know, there's no second guessing, there's no questioning what we have to be able to do to live up to the standards of both Costco and Mike Holmes. And that's personally one of the reasons I got involved, because I really wanted to have a high level of standards when I got into home inspections. I've had a few here, and you know, not saying that they weren't good, but I just felt like it needed, you know, someone needed to do better. That's what led me to this. So we have 3 platforms. Lisa, if you want to talk about our home inspection yourself a bit and our platforms, and then we'll carry on from there.
Hi guys, I'm Lisa. Like Scott said, I'm certified through Carson Dunlop as well as Internachi, and we've also done some Mike Holmes training. I think what James was trying to say is that we're not trying to scare anybody with the Mike Holmes TV shows. We certainly have a standard to uphold, but we're not going to be scaring away clients, because that really wouldn't benefit us. We're here to work with you guys and make sure that your clients are getting a good house. With that being said, we're also working on being a one-stop shop. With our meetings that we've had with other realtors and companies and such, is that it's really a pain in the butt for a realtor to have to call a water guy, call a septic guy, call a home inspector. So we are looking at being your one-stop shop, like where we can do it all. Where I think by next week, James, we'll have the water testing up and running. We already do mold, which again, a lot of other home inspectors don't. We'll do an air quality sample. That's no trouble for us, with quick turnaround times too, might I add. And then radon, which I think most inspectors are offering radon now, but I think what sets us apart is the mold and the water sampling. And further down the line, I think eventually we'll get the septic stuff set up as well. We're working pretty hard on getting that done very quickly. So yeah. As for the packages, there's 3 different tiers. basically it depends on what the homeowner wants. There's the basic one that's just the home inspection itself. And if we see something suspect, then we use thermography. The second package comes with the radon, the air sample and the thermography. And then the third one is the inspection, the thermography, the radon, and the air quality sample.
Can you give us an idea of the costs?
I can, yeah. Obviously depending on if they're a Costco member or not. I'm just going to pull it up here. Sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead, James. Yeah.
Aaron, I will email you our pricing breakdown so that way can you distribute it to everybody?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. So and it has all our packages. We have a realtor discount, which is 15% as well. So if you got that up, Lisa, you can give them a little idea, but we also have, like, you can give to your clients a code and it gives them 15% off if they're not a Costco member.
Yeah. But basically it's anywhere from 15 to 30%, and we're competitively priced. It pretty much puts us on par with everybody else. But the cost, if you're a Costco executive member, you get a 30% discount, which is pretty huge. You basically get the premium package for the extended price. So, yeah.
People are big on Costco. Like, that's a big thing. So if
14 million members.
Yeah, if anything makes, and does that go towards the, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. Yeah, if we can have the packages and your contact information, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
So our base is 570 for a basic home inspection. If you give your client the realtor 15, it basically works out to 570 taxes in. So that's right on par with most of the home inspectors in Halifax area, from what I understand. I think some are 580 with taxes, whatnot. So our extended, Lisa, do you have the price on the extended? It's
750, and then the discount,
yes,
is 547. So it really, like, it brings you back down even lower. Yeah, it's very competitive. We'll send you guys the price list, but we're not any higher. We're not much higher, or if any higher than anybody else.
So one of the things that I really liked is, so I had my training and I had started a small home inspection business already before I got into this. And I was just kind of servicing East Hants with the realtor friend that I had, and I was doing home renovations and stuff and keeping busy. But after I got into this, I went back to school again for Mike Holmes. It was another month of training. By the time you got all the stuff, all the certifications and stuff they wanted you to have done, and then we went down and we trained with basically his top inspectors that they have in Ontario, and we got some more practical field experience doing inspections on homes in Ontario, which is a little different than out here, but you know, it's been a whirlwind since we started. That when I started in March, this whole process, and took us till August to get launched. So it's been quite a while.
James, I think Dennis Oikel has a question.
Hey, Dennis.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Good, yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Thanks for coming on. Just a quick question. You just mentioned that you said you had an inspection company prior to starting with Mike Holmes.
I had a small one. I had only started it a couple months beforehand.
Okay.
And I just was doing some with one of my friends that I've known for years, who's a realtor, and a couple other ones for some other people. But I had just started. I was doing renovations at the time. And
yeah, I was kind of curious on where I was originally trying to go with that. I was curious on where, you know, what is it that's different with Mike Holmes training versus most of the inspectors in Nova Scotia from your guys' experience? Because you guys kind of referred to that a little while ago, where you guys are slightly different. So,
You mind if I jump in, James?
You go right ahead, Lisa.
Yeah. So I think where we differ, there's a few things. First of all, we have a call center. So, you know, I'm sure you've been at an inspection before with another inspector, and, you know, they get a call, and if they don't answer that call, they're not getting the business. So they stop and they take the call. Well, we have a call center that deals with all of that for us. when we're at the house, you know, we get in, we get out, and we're efficient, and we're there to 100% focus. Another aspect is we have a whole team behind us. They're looking over our reports to make sure that they're, you know, well written and we're not missing anything, and, you know, just there to, so like 24/7 support, literally. You know, I've gone in and I've been like, this is strange. And I text my guy, Steve, and he's like, yeah, definitely what you thought, you know, or so we just have like this massive support system. James, am I missing anything?
No, so basically they audit our reports before we ship them to your clients. They look through all our pictures, make sure that, yeah, we found this thing, but did you see that? Or, you know, your wording is a little off, you might scare your client, so change your wording a bit, because, you know, you could put your client on, oh, red alert. No. So, you know,
Which we're not here to do.
which is, yeah, we're here to help you close. We're here to help you guys sell your houses, because the more you sell, the busier we are, right? But the training just comes with standards, Dennis. Like the CAPI standards of practice, we have to follow them to a T. There's no deviation. There's no, you know, I'm gonna do something a little outside of the standards, which could put you at liability and us at liability if something were to happen. You know, we're here to protect everybody that's involved in these transactions by our methodology that we have to follow. So we went through a 1-week course doing methodology training with, you know, 2 inspectors who've been doing this for 20 to 40 years. And, you know, it's the routine systems. It's from how we start and greet our clients right through to the customer service while we're going through the inspection and doing our job properly, right to the end of delivering a report and showing them, you know, deficiencies and the good and the bad, basically.
It's a system we use, and it's the same system every time, so you know what to expect, and then it just keeps us efficient and on our toes.
Plus, if you're going to add in the well and septic inspection, that's going to be fantastic. And insulation, that's a big thing.
The thermography is our insulation guru. You know, the having to be certified in thermography is a big thing, because it helps.
It's a very in-depth course.
Yeah. And I've already done houses, and it's like, oh, you're missing insulation there, or your insulation's dropped 4 inches here but none there. And, you know, seeing water moisture where your eyes can't see it is a huge thing. So yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome, Dennis.
So quick question about getting up on the roof. Do you guys get up on the roof, or do you have a drone, or what do you do in that circumstance?
We always go to the roof's edge, at least. According, you know, I was a roofer when I was younger, and I'm not afraid to get up there, but if I fall off, who's there for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and if we damage something, who's repairing that? Because, you know, if it's an older roof and it may look in good shape, but if you step through the roof, or, you know, a bunch of shingles fall off or anything, it's us liable. So according to, you know, the labor board, unless you're tied off and have somebody there with you, it's really not recommended to go on the roof.
It's actually not allowed. It's according to labor laws, unless we're properly tied off, we can't go up there. We are working on a drone ruling right now. It is something that's coming. I personally have a drone, and I have used it to go up and look. We just have to make sure that we're following those flight laws. It is, but it is something. And going up to the roof's edge is more than you need. And then when you go into the attic space, you see everything you need to see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say I'd probably try to catch you.
Well, thank you, Jen.
I don't think I'd do a great job, but I would definitely try.
So guys, I was a little late to this, so maybe you've already covered it off, but what specifically do you do within your inspections? I'm hoping to get some actual logistics of what do you cover? How do you go about it? You said you have a routine or a method that you go through. Can you walk us through what it is you guys do and potentially what sets you apart from other home inspectors and maybe what they're not covering?
You go, Lisa.
Sure. All right. So we're going to show up. I'll just walk you through real quick. We show up, we, introduce ourselves to you guys, and we make sure that the client has no questions before we start, especially with, the contract, because they are lengthy. And so we cover all that. And then we do the exterior. We do two laps around the exterior, make sure we cover everything, the roof. And then we come inside, we go right to the basement. We do the basement, the utility room, all that. And then we go, if there's a second floor, we go all the way upstairs. And then we do all the way up there. We do the attic then, and then we come down to the main floor and do the kitchen. It's literally the same thing every time.
It sounds like your own flight path, like you have
search, called the search and rescue method. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So it's efficient. It helps us not miss anything. It's just, it really, like, it's autopilot now. It's really nice that I have this method, and it's very easy. Sometimes you have the client following you, and sometimes they're just hanging out in the kitchen waiting for you. So it helps you stay on track, especially if they're asking a lot of questions and stuff, and helps you, keeps the flow going so that you're not there for 3 or 4 hours or, an insane amount of time.
What about the heating system? Do you check that?
Yes, absolutely.
Furnace, hot water tank?
Yes, usually that's in the basement and that's in the utility room, but yes, we do the electrical panel, we do the furnace, we cover everything. There's really not anything that we don't look at unless it's not safe, which nobody would, Like
so
if the electrical
Lisa, I'll apologize in advance because I'm still fairly new.
Okay.
But when it comes to this stuff, when you say that you do the outside and you do the basement, you do the electrical panel, what are you doing?
I
What are you
apologize.
looking for?
So when we come into the, when I go outside, we find a starting point, which is usually the left-hand side near the back wall. And we start at one side, visual scan. We take a picture of the side of the house as a general reference point in case there's something odd. And then we scan up to down to up. Everywhere we go, we grab pipes that are hanging. We make sure everything's loose or not loose, or it's snug or fitting. We get down and we look, behind gardens and under stairwells or steps that are coming. We look for proper, ventilation, trim, rot, cracks, any deficiencies in the exterior of the house. And we scan, we go around once, we do that. Then we walk back around slowly, doing in the opposite direction, scanning again, because sometimes when you walk one way, your left eye will see something that your right eye won't.
My eyes look the same direction. I don't know about James's, but
I know, I just find one of my eyes,
yeah.
Sometimes you pick things up with the other side of your brain when you're looking at things from the other direction. But and we're looking for, is the house level, square, are the garden beds against the walls, lock grating, drainage, downspouts above or below ground, caulking,
the water, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Water penetration from the exterior that's the big thing. If there's water coming in from outside, there's going to be issues somewhere at some point. So, and then like when we go to the electrical panel, we pull it apart, we test it, make sure it's not hot or live, and then we take the cover off. We check, the amperage, and we started doing an inspection on the electrical panel. It's pretty visual. We're not electricians, so contact's a minimal thing, very minimal. We'll check for double tapping, hot spots, incorrect wiring, corrosion, rust, missing caps, just, general maintenance, the cleanliness, how clean it is, how cluttered it is versus clean, all that kind of stuff, how the wiring, looking for the age of the wiring, looking for aluminum wiring, knob and tube, depending on the age of the house, could be hidden wires somewhere connecting to newer wires. So that's kind of what we're doing when it comes to the electrical panel and system. And then we kind of do the same thing with the hot water tank. Here, you know, there's not a lot of propane and natural gas yet for hot water tanks, but it's coming. And so, you know, an electrical hot water tanks, you're looking for rust, corrosion, the age of it, looking down underneath to make sure it's not rusting out on the bottom. Other than that, you know, really it's the age of the and how it's set up, if it's up off the floor, just the, you know,
Functional performance. We're always looking for functional performance,
Yeah.
making sure everything's working the way it should be. That's like our main goal.
Nice. And I appreciate that. So when it comes to the wiring, you had said something about old wiring. So can you tell me, like, for example, in an older property, and I hope I'm going to get this right. Again, I'm going to claim new person, but aluminum wiring bad, copper wiring good.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Yes.
if somebody has, I'm just like not affirmatively to the stupid girl. Just tell her.
No such thing as stupid
appreciate
questions.
affirmations. So if someone's got aluminum wiring and you go in there and you see that, but what would they potentially, what would your recommendation be? Like saying, okay, they just need to do this piggy tail thing that they do with the copper wiring into the aluminum wiring, and then it's all okay? Or they have to rip it all out and put in all new wiring? Like, how bad of an issue is that?
There's a very, very slight chance that we would ever say, you got to rip it all out. You might as well turn it around. Like, we don't say that. And like that's really ever the case. If an old house has aluminum wiring and it's working, you know, we're going to look for hot spots and stuff, but there always is safe ways to mitigate it.
Exactly.
And it's not tearing the whole house apart to get the wiring out.
Okay, so what would the safe thing to do?
You
So if I have a client and they're talking like, it's aluminum wiring, oh no. And I'm like, yeah, that's awful. Or I say, actually, it's okay. We need an electrician to come in and take a look at it. And they need to do the wiring with the copper thing with the pigs and whatever it is they do.
Yeah.
And then it's okay again. Is that correct? Like, is that?
Exactly. That's exactly.
They
what
make it safe
is.
at the panel. Yeah.
There we go. Okay. All right. So, and that's all right. So that's the important stuff there. Good. I just don't know how, like, what's the degree of alarm I need to have in here.
We don't work on alarms. We're pretty good at de-escalating. That's our
Yeah. Well, I
Contrary
try
to
to escalate with my
Holmes'
clients, but I always try to escalate a little bit with the listing agent to make them kind of go,
right.
So I want to know,
Yeah.
you know,
We're
how
very
much-
fair in our assessments, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, when it comes to aluminum wire and old knob and tube wiring is a little different. That's a wiring that has to be inspected by an electrician to, you know, determine if it's still usable, but they don't recommend it. But aluminum wiring is all about how much amps and voltage is going through it, whether it's just
producing. Yeah.
yeah. So as long as it's not being overloaded, it's usually still in the safe zone.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep.
So what about like, I'm about as new as Sherry. We're all around the same spot. So what about 100 amp versus a 200 amp? Obviously 200 is great, but 100, can we just touch on that as well? Does it matter? If it's 100 or 200, depends what's on the.
Depends on the size of the house and
Yeah.
what's running through it.
Yeah. Okay.
Really,
I actually just updated from 100 amp to a 200 amp in my house personally. And it's solely because I wanted a hot tub.
Okay, you're just adding more things.
It was
Okay.
running my house just fine.
Okay.
And it's a 3,000 square foot home. Like, so it all depends on the needs of the home. It's basically like how many outlets you have, what do you have running, how many outlets are you plugged into and using? Like, do you have a grow up in your basement and you need lots of energy? You know, it all really depends on the need of the home.
You can actually say that now and it's probably okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
The one you got to worry about is the 60 amp.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
60.
Yeah.
60 amps can be underpowering for your house, and if there's too much draw, it can cause damage to electronics and other things, overheating in the panel. You know.
Okay, great, thanks.
To today's standards, 60 amps is not, because it's a technology filled world, basically.
Yeah.
Do you guys offer warranties on your inspections? So if you missed something, how does that work?
I feel like it's not necessarily a warranty. However, like we have insurance, obviously,
Yes.
you have to. But we're always open to discussion on, like, I don't know. I just don't feel like we need something.
In our contract, it does state that if we've missed something, you will allow us to come back and reinspect that something. It does have
Most of the time, it's not we missed something. It's that something wasn't present at the time, and
Or
now
that.
it is.
yeah.
And we document everything. Like we take lots of pictures, even though there's nothing wrong. We're taking pictures so that we're covering everybody's butt.
Yes. Say somebody comes into the house after us and does something, at least we have pictures of every wall in the house, usually regardless of if there's something wrong with it or not. And
Not saying that someone can be malicious and do that, but yeah.
It's just a liability thing, right? And to protect you guys and us, and to make sure that we have everything recorded. So
regarding the warranty, have you heard like another inspection company called First Choice? I remember in their name card, on their name card, they had some like kind of warranty, especially the roof. I can't remember the exactly number, but I think they mentioned like after the inspection, if the roof has any damage or something like happen, they got like couple of years warranty. I have no idea how they can cover it, but they say they have an extra insurance with other companies, so to give you the double
so
warranty on.
Internachi provides a warranty like that to its members. It's like a buyback warranty, basically. We are members, but I think because of our association, that's not within our membership platform yet. It's something I have asked Scott about a few times, because I know a Buyer's Choice does the buyback warranty, right? If your hot water tank or stove or fridge craps out within 6 months or 8 months or something, they'll replace it or repair it. So I do know that other people have those kind of warranties out there. It's not in our cards quite yet, or might not ever be in our cards. But I know, like I said, because of Costco, there is levels of standards for they guarantee everything they do. So I'm not entirely sure yet, but this is a newer franchise. It's growing all the time. We're making changes constantly. So I don't see it being something that may never be discussed, but I do know what you're talking about, Iris. I know that I've looked at a Buyer's Choice warranty a few times.
Yeah.
So,
okay, thank you.
So one of the things that keeps popping up with inspections, obviously, is a lot of cracks in the foundation. And where you came from, Ontario, and obviously you were saying there's a big difference between Ontario and Nova Scotia. And I do find that every time we have underwriters from Ontario and then they send out an appraisal and they find a crack along the foundation that's not shifted, it's just a crack and showed no signs of leakage, that's always a big hassle with the underwriters in Ontario. How do you guys write that up in your presentations when you see something? Like what about the crack specifically that you guys are concerned about and not concerned about?
Horizontal versus vertical cracking. Vertical, not bad, or potentially not bad. Horizontal is usually more suspect, but we never, unless we see water damage, we're not like, whoa. We're not saying shut this project down ever. I've yet to write an inspection report where a foundation crack was an issue. A big issue, I should say.
So Dennis, when you're talking about insurance underwriters, are you talking about like your clients are trying to buy the house and they have insurance come out and look at it?
It's so like clients coming out, we're looking to buy the home, and then mortgage broker, the bank is actually going to insure it, not them, because they're putting well over, the ones I've dealt with, the few that I'm talking about, they put well over the 20% down. So with saying that, just the bank sent out the appraisals specifically for themselves, so they paid for it. They're the ones that are insuring it. And where the underwriters from Ontario, we've been just anytime I've had the underwriters from Ontario, it's been an issue. And I talked to a few brokers I know down here, and they always have the same concerns. So yeah, like that was mine too, right? Obviously horizontal versus vertical. Vertical is not too bad. The only thing you're looking for at that moment is just a shift, almost like a step. And at that moment, you're gonna have to put a Band-Aid on it. But yeah, no, I was just kind of curious. That's all.
I mean, most people around here eventually get their house wrapped, right? If they can afford it, regardless of, how new or old it is. Most inspections I've been on so far, I always find a wrap around the foundation of the house.
And what is a wrap?
Well, waterproof membrane around the exterior of the foundation.
Looks like black paint or blue paint sometimes. And Dennis, I think it should be noted that we're both from here. We just did some of our training in Toronto.
Yeah.
So yeah.
James was misleading.
Sorry. Well, I'm from Alberta. I've actually lived in 4 provinces now. So I born and raised Albertan, worked in the oil field and construction industry in my younger years, and then for some reason moved to Prince Edward Island. And I haven't gone back.
What part of Alberta?
Well, I was born in Rocky Mountain House, lived in Red Deer, Edmonton, Lacombe. I've lived all over the place there. So
not in Grand Prairie. Come on.
I've worked there.
So what's the biggest thing that you guys are seeing on houses now? Like, is there any trends that are going on? It's kind of silly because houses are different ages, different styles, whatever. Is there anything you're seeing more often now? Less, like before it was Kitech. Like, is there anything that you're seeing a lot of now that we should be aware of, or anything, top 3 tips you could give us as realtors that could help you guys, or we should be aware of, or anything any advice you have for us?
New home builds, because they're going up so fast, the foundation doesn't have time to cure.
Right.
So you're getting moisture in the basement, and it's not actually water, but it's like a musty smell. That's something I've come across twice now in the 2 new homes that I've inspected. It's just, they're going up so fast and then they're setting up the insulation faster than it can cure properly. So then the cement, the foundation is letting go of some of that moisture, and it's just creating a smell, and it does go away. It's like an alarming thing. You're like, oh my God, it smells bad, but it'll, if you, handle it well, it'll go away eventually. And so that's something I've been seeing. James, you?
The biggest thing I've seen so far is home job renovations without permits. Right? People just doing stuff themselves to save money, and especially during the pandemic, who wasn't renovating? Who didn't stay at home and build something during this pandemic? So, that's one of the biggest things. Like, if you have buyers from away or local buyers, if you have any concern, make sure that there's permits pulled on stuff, right? Call the municipality and make sure they had permits to build that addition, to build that deck. Yeah.
And what if they didn't?
Then that's between you and your client and a lawyer, I would imagine.
Okay, right. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
If your client was to buy the house unbeknownst to the permit being open, it would fall on the new homeowner.
Right.
The key thing to know is that it stays with the house. It doesn't travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So liability is passed on as soon as you move in.
Right.
And that's what people don't think about. They're just like, oh yeah, look at that, a nice deck. Oh, and then it falls down in a year or 2.
And that's a real danger, because so many people build stuff. They have no idea about codes. And you guys, and not saying anything bad, but you guys are generalists. You're not specialists. So anytime they flag something, it's up to us now to turn our buyers over to a professional. So if you think something's built, take it to a contractor or a carpenter. If you think it's electrical, bring in an electrician. That's what they do.
Yep. I know,
That's
and
great, Mike. Thanks.
Yeah.
it is great. And that is it. And you are right, Mike. We're generalists. We're like going to the general practitioner of the, construction industry. So you come to us and we refer you to a specialist if there is something that needs to be looked at, because otherwise, it'd be impossible to get all of those guys together all at once and do a home inspection. So I do my best. I've got quite a few years of building houses and I was going to be a contractor, but I have a bummed wrist that doesn't allow me to hold tools and swing hammers anymore. So here I am trying to protect people.
Can I ask, am I still on there? I'm
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, what other tools do you guys bring to the table? Like there's inspectors now that are bringing out radon testers or thermal guns. What are you guys bringing to the table?
All of that. We have an air sampling. I think our biggest difference between everybody else is the air sampling and the radon. We use like much higher tech radon than most other places. Like ours is all digital and real time, where a lot of home inspectors I find are still using cassettes, where like we can get a reading in 10 minutes, and not that that's enough. You need at least 4 days. 91 days is what you really should have, but we will do them in 4 days. We have thermography cameras, like the best FLIR thermography cameras you can get. What else do we have, James? We have all the tech. We have all the tech.
Our air sampler is, comes right from EMSL. It's not like a second rate one. It comes right from our mold sampling company. I'll just show you, I'm going to show you just a little picture of a dashboard of my radon detector I have sitting out right now. And basically there's a graph showing day to day how the radon changes in my house. And it shows me right now I'm only at 44 becquerels. So I'm well below the safe zone, but we have continuous monitoring radon. New homes for new home warranty. If there's radon, it's a 91-day test. So we put a cube out and we monitor it for 91 days, and then deliver the results to the new home warranty program, so they can either put in radon mitigation system, or the owners can get one done, or whatever. But as Lisa said, we do the 4-day test as well.
Will that also tell you if the unit's been moved? Because that's always my concern. You put it in the house, you walk away, you don't know if they took it upstairs to the living room.
Yeah, it's plugged in. We'll know if it gets unplugged.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And it will actually get a notification, and we can contact you right away when that happens and say, hey, so that we're not wasting any time.
Yeah.
Good.
So guys, what about, I hear about these pucks that you can buy for $40. Can you help me understand for radon? Is that right? Like a radon puck, $40. Like,
Yeah.
Can you help me understand the different options for checking radon?
The training we had was pretty extensive. There's lots of handling. You have to place it properly in the basement. Or wherever you're testing, usually it's in the basement. There's all these rules about for best testing, and unless you did the test, and I don't really know the quality of James, do you know the quality of that stuff you can buy? Like, I'll tell you, my tester costs $40.
Yeah, so the puck that you're talking about is what a lot of the guys here were using. They may still be using or aren't. I know some of them are, some of them aren't. And there can be problems with them too, because you have to ship them off to get them tested. So when you're done doing your initial sample, unless you seal them to send them off, during their whole travel, they can be exposed to stuff. So is your reading completely accurate? Was there an exposure after you dropped it off at this lab? So that's why the technology is getting better for radon. And there are some other older digital ones that are out there that give you instant readings, but they're big and they're not continuous monitoring. You only get your one sample based on the time you put it down to the time you stop recording, and it's a generalized, basically the digital version generalizes it all and sets it at like, if it was between 40 and 100, it'll just tell you, 60. So do you got one, Lisa?
Yeah, I'm pulling it out now.
But the
Okay.
pucks, yet again, they're just something you put down for a while, and then you got to pick them up and send them off to the lab for results.
Yeah,
So you
because
gotta
I've
like-
never heard of them. I just heard a realtor speaking to their client saying, do you want to radon testing? Here's the option with, all I heard was the inspectors, something can do it and they leave it for a couple days, but the window could be left open. People could let air in, use the pucks, more reliable. They sit there for 3 months. So that's just me being new. That's what I heard. So it's gonna be really cool, Lisa, to see this and
Yeah.
understand it.
What we call the Eco Cube.
Okay.
We plug it in, it connects to the Wi-Fi if there is Wi-Fi. If there isn't, we have another, James will grab the radon eye. So we have two systems if there's Wi-Fi, if there isn't. One is Bluetooth and one is Wi-Fi. So this gives us a reading in 10 minutes, they both do. And then it's continuous monitoring, so it continuously updates. I just had a radon eye out a couple of days ago, and I think the second day I went out and just stood outside the house and got the reading. So then I could make sure that it was all good. And then on the fourth day I went and got it, downloaded the rest of my reading on my phone, and that's it. And there it is. I'm not waiting for any samples to come back. If it gets unplugged, I'll know. Yeah.
How much is that service there, Lisa?
James, do you know? Sorry, just where we have a call center, I don't really, I should
That's
know
okay.
better than I do.
Just wondering how it compares to the puck. I mean, obviously it sounds like a much better system, but just wondering what the comparison is cost wise.
It's basically the same price as what the other guys charge. We're
Okay.
not
Yeah, 1 second.
more. I think it's if we're just doing a radon by itself, like just radon, I think it's $300.
But that's for a 90-day test.
That's a 90-day test. If we're there on site doing a home inspection, adding a radon, I think it's an extra 250. No, 850. Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So most inspectors in the 250 range, if
Yeah.
they come in to do the testing, the shortest time duration is 72 hours because radon will peak and ebb, so you need to have a kind of sine wave. They prefer 90 days to get a true reading. And it should be done in the winter because then your houses are closed up and tight.
Oh, good.
Yes.
And the pressure differential, right?
Yeah.
There's more pressure underneath your house. I actually have a radon mitigation system in my basement from this Echo Cube testing. And yeah, the difference in the summer and the winter is pretty big.
I've had one running in my house for 4 months now, and I've watched the summer go up and down quite a bit. And now the winter's coming, it's starting, or the fall's coming, it's cooling off. It seems like it's starting to kind of level out for a bit, like right now. So yeah, it's an awesome piece of technology now.
Any other questions, guys?
Small things, very small things. So, because I heard from another inspector say he don't do the test for the appliance because especially for new construction something, because some client will bring the appliance to hook it up and they can do the inspection, but he said he don't do that, and because on the closing day you will finally open it, try the tap, try the fridge, try anything, the dryer or wash. Do you do that on your inspection day?
We
Appliance only.
Turn the stuff on. We don't do anything that can be removed, basically,
Okay.
because it can be removed.
Yeah.
If your client wanted us to document, all the serial numbers or something, we could throw that in the report. It's like, if there was a question of it staying, we can certainly take a picture of all the serial numbers. We take pictures of all the serial numbers on like the water tank and the heat pumps and all that stuff, the stuff that's actually installed. So if that was a concern you guys had, we can certainly address that.
Yeah, but basically we just check to make sure they work. We
Yeah.
don't do much more else with them.
You look
Right.
at the hot water tank and furnaces and that, are you dating them? Are you giving them an age?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
and a life expectant, an expected life expectancy as well.
How long does your inspection usually take?
Depends on the size of the house, how much the client's talking, but we'd like to get in and out in under 2 hours. I think that's a good goal.
I like 2.5 hours. That's my comfort zone, but just to be sure and walk through again, especially if you've got to add like thermal imaging and mold test in there, 2.5 to 3 hours is definitely a comfort zone, just to take your time and make sure it's done right.
And how long do we wait for your report?
24 hours, 48 at the max.
36 at the most, actually, I think, isn't it, Lisa?
Yeah, it comes quick.
Yeah.
24 hours. I haven't had a report not in 24 hours yet. So.
Okay.
Is there anything else, guys? Jen, you're thinking, I can see it.
I know, I always have questions, but that's amazing. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, and you're gonna send your contact information there with Aaron, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll send a pricing guideline, and Lisa can send her contact, I'll send my contact, and then if Aaron can send that out to everybody. I have dropped cards off at the office. I will drop some more off just to make sure.
They're probably here, just no agents are around.
Yeah.
Since COVID.
When Aaron sends out an email, send us your contact, guys. Like once she sends you the contact, send us your contact so we can, correspond with you and meet up and get you some business cards or whatever. It sounds like a good plan. Awesome.
Good for me.
Okay.
Thank you so much, guys.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Aaron, for taking the time out today to set this up with everyone.
No worries.
Yes, thanks a lot, you guys. Appreciate
The
it.
questions were great too, actually.
Yeah.
It's always nice when we have questions because then it helps us to just clear things up and show that we know what we're doing.
We're not Mike Holmes. We're not here to rip houses apart.
Yeah.
And
This is
be
reality
TV stars. Yeah.
No, that was brilliant. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I hope everyone enjoys their day and is very successful in the next coming while.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.